Yes, thank you for joining our advanced medicine webinar. It's a important day to have a webinar. I won't get into that. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about, but yes, thank you all for being here. And the discussion is going to be super interesting and important. Uh, Talking about transhumanism and the future and the choices we might be presented with in our lives. And Geraldine's gonna really dive into that. So let's welcome her back for her another webinar. Uh, Geraldine Orozco is a epigenetic psychotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, speaker coach, and consultant. And I had actually I had a session with Geraldine recently, which was very amazing and powerful, and I'm still feeling the effects of that. So, with that said, Geraldine, welcome. Come on up.
Hello, hello. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Aaron,
Yes,
for for the invitation on the advanced medicine community. Thank you.
welcome. Thank you for joining and bringing us this your valuable insights and your knowledge and probably the facts that you've been given through various sources. And yes, thank you for coming.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and welcome everybody. What an honor it is to be holding space with you guys from all over the world. It's so exciting to be here. Well, yeah, so I guess I'll dive in.
Sure.
Today, yeah, thank you. We're going to talk about transhumanism, and we're going to talk about the implications of that, and looking forward at how it's going to be one of the major elements of how our human race is essentially split into. And we're going to talk about that because essentially what's been happening, and this information I've been researching since 2017 and even before that. For those of you that don't know me, I came into this realm by working really deeply in meditation for many years in retreat, to the point where I began to deprogram my own DNA and experience profound emotional healing. And that is how I began to unlock some of my interdimensional abilities, like psychic abilities and things like this. But it wasn't until 2013 that I had an interdimensional experience that began to really trigger the expansion of those abilities. And it opened up a sensitivity in a way that was really difficult for me to navigate my everyday life. And I had to learn how to use my interdimensional sensitivity, my expanded empathetic abilities, that really made engaging with people very difficult. But it taught me a lot because in seeing my own multidimensional body, I began to learn not only about our energy body, how it functions, but the connection to our biology, essentially our health, our vitality, and all areas of our life, including our ability to manifest and co-create in this physical plane. So I began to learn how to heal my own body. I healed my body many times from illnesses, even coming back from death, by understanding how our bioelectrical, biochemical, multidimensional body actually functions. And this information is something that I learned by seeing my own interdimensional body and also working one-on-one with clients, tackling the somatic roots of illness, the somatic roots of our psychological sickness, any kind of disharmonious imbalances in the body. And what I discovered is basically when the body comes back into its balanced harmony, mind, body, and soul, literally illness cannot, it cannot exist in the body. And for those that have long-term terminal illnesses, the effects begin to become more so that the human can actually have a very productive, abundant life and not being interfered or blocked by the effects of the illnesses in a way that can hinder the potential of the human. So definitely there are amazing ways to use this multidimensional body to learn how to cultivate it in a way to master our self-healing abilities. And this is really the goal of this conversation today, because what our human race is being directed towards is everything away from that understanding, everything away from the deep reconnection of ourselves back to our natural organic harmony that allows us to access self-regenerative systems that we have encoded in our body, in our DNA. So this is where I would love to invite you, and I'm going to jump into a presentation today, but essentially, uh, exactly, we are returning to the natural state. That's exactly right. That's exactly how I put it, Kim, because and we're gonna return back to that in even more profound ways in how our world is changing. This is actually 2025 is the beginning of period 9, which in Chinese astrology and also feng shui, we're learning how to harness the energies of the universe and the earth and to come in deeper harmony with it. So period 9 is all about the ending of parasitic cycles inside out in order to have a major rebirth for humanity. And what is ending really at this time are parasitic systems that have, for example, large corporations, pharmaceutical industries that are all for profit and for self-gain. And the 1% that kind of manages the majority of these systems, seemingly disempowering humanity in their potential for self-healing and regeneration. But all of that is going to change, and it's going to change the more that we educate ourselves and we learn who we actually are, how do we function, and how to tune into these abilities.
Mhm.
So the information I'm going to share with you in this presentation is a series of collections of research that I have done for the past 15 years now on how we are becoming more transhumanist beings as opposed to the organic. And we want to look at how to access our organic abilities in order for us to thrive and to choose carefully and discern, using technology and choosing carefully to implement the technology that is available to us in ways that are truly harmonizing for humans, that are going to help us actually. And
Mhm.
it's not that all artificial intelligence is negative for us. It's going to advance medicine tremendously, tremendously.
Nice play on words.
Yeah. Exactly. But we are literally learning how to harness organic technology. So, in the same, remember that all technology is mimicking our organic functions.
Mhm.
And our human body has such profound, complex systems that we still haven't even learned about our own body. We're still researching, trying to understand
Mhm.
the incredible, systems of our body. But as we learn how they function, it's almost as if the consciousness of the collective is also expanding. Technology is catching up. And we have to learn how to balance in harmony with those things.
Absolutely. Yes, there's probably some people I'm sure that are in that are joined the call that are TAP members who are familiar with an investment in a company and a leader and that is going forward in the quantum and the AI realm. And he's calling his version of AI authentic intelligence. So something that's probably a little more going to be a little more helpful to us. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Geraldine, I hate to interrupt. There's been a few comments of maybe some static on your
Mm.
mic.
Oh, really?
And
Mm.
I don't know if you're able to turn up volume or yeah, it feels like just give it like your wire a little wiggle or something.
Let me see. Let me see what's going on here. I think I can. Um, how is that? Is that better?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
you
sounds
know
good
what?
to me.
How about now? Is that better?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
got it. Yeah, so there you go. I had to adjust the microphone. Thank you for that. I didn't
There
know
you
the
go.
microphone was working.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to jump into the presentation and we're going to jump right in because we have a lot to talk about.
Hmm.
We,
Please do. I'm as excited as probably more excited than anybody else here.
thank
There you
you.
go.
Thank you so much. All right. So let me see here. I'm going to share my screen and let's see if I can open up the right presentation. I've been doing a couple presentations today, so please excuse me.
I know you've
Uh,
been busy.
yeah, today was a big day for this stuff. Um, Here we go. Let's see. And please feel free to ask questions. You can put your questions in capital letters below. I'm really happy to answer questions and engage with you guys
Mhm.
when you guys have any questions. Okay, so um, let's start with talking about what is exactly artificial intelligence. Mm, right now, we have massive systems and learning of these systems that are really taking on the forefront of technology. And as you may have seen, that the president has signed recently orders to work with the largest, essentially doing an entire connection with artificial intelligence, and the implementations of that are going to be tremendous moving forward. And these are things that they have been in the works for a very long time, and uh, we will see how they're going to implement exactly, but I can tell you that I've been following not only the World Economic Forum, but also the Genomic Forum that focuses exactly on the economics of the genome and genes and our gene information. But essentially, all of that has been really, really heavily funded and studied over the past 15, 20 years. And how it's going to be used has been kind of trickily used. I'm going to show you in just a minute. So with that being said, the massive amounts of information that are coming, not only in quantum computing, which is going to be the future, but we are running out of space to store this level of information. It's information that, mechanically and technologically, it cannot be supported by our old technology. So literally, technology is actually turning to look at DNA to learn how to store this level of massive amounts of information. And this is actually a presentation that I did a few years ago. But essentially, our DNA is being modeled in how information is turned into liquid form or crystallized into genetic data, right, and encoded into letters, which then create syntax and codes for how information is being stored. So right now, the bigger picture of these genomic programs is that we are looking to the use of these computational methods, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, to improve the understanding of the patterns in DNA. And how it connects to clinical research, how it connects to the advancements of gene editing. Gene editing essentially is grabbing DNA, splicing parts of DNA, for example, illness. And this is one of the first genomic projects that were issued was done by a doctor in China, actually, who CRISPR'd AIDS out of the DNA of twins. And actually, those twins were born against the will of the scientific community and the medical community in China, but it created a major uproar because it was the first twins that were born with the DNA sequencing having been edited out of their DNA. And of course, that man ended up in jail. That doctor ended up in jail afterward. However, I do know that that university was majorly funded by private companies that wanted to continue the research on that. And many, many have branched off since then to work on CRISPR. CRISPR is the gene editing machine. I mean, it costs maybe $20,000. It's very easy to access. You can literally buy it on eBay, and you can, learn how to edit your genes at home. Literally, it's something that you can learn and pick up. So essentially, there are many organizations now that are focusing on this, but the combination and the union, what we're up against now, what we're looking at is the union between artificial intelligence and a massive database of gene information. Ever since the Human Genome Program research project, which allowed genome sequencing and information about how our genes are, it launched us in the direction of understanding that our genetic information is literally the blueprint of all potential information. It's the history of your ancestors, illnesses that run down in the family, and the genes that can be turned on and off to work and manipulate for that information. So artificial intelligence is literally now going to be merging with this information, if you can imagine, to take it to the very next level. And the whole point of that is that what is going to be built, or what is already being built, is AI that can quickly read, process, translate the information, and then provide gene sequencing solutions for whatever genes are out of balance or are going into negative mutations or positive mutations in the body, in order to create a new kind of medicine, which is completely based on gene editing. So yes, this information is going to be available to you, as well as the links to the articles and the research papers. It took me a really long time to put all this information together, but it will be available to you. And it's important that you read it, because in this information, you can see what is happening in the behind the scenes, and why the president has chosen to make these agreements. And it's a very, very big deal. Okay. So before, we were dealing with a big pharma, okay? And so medicine is going to go through a major revamping in the next 3-4 years. This is how quickly the changes are being made, because these are things that have been researched over the past 10 years already very heavily. And they've been in testing, quietly, in these companies that spend a lot of time to test the ins and out of this technology. And the whole point of the collection of DNA, which I'm going to get to in just a minute, which was very, very ingeniously collected by 23andMe, Ancestry.com, in which we paid $150 to submit our DNA information for them to have a massive amount of data collection of all of our genetic information. Okay, but coming back to this for just a moment, I'll talk about that more in a second. But essentially, what we want to understand is that the collection of our information is biometrical information. It's not just DNA. Okay, so we'll talk about DNA in a second. But remember that in order to help AI learn how to process and calculate information, it has to learn from a model. And we are the models. We have been the models for this information. Every input that we put into our technology has been programmed and has been recorded. And that information has become completely invaluable to these AI machine learning, deep learning programs. And there are many, many lawsuits that have been launched as a result of this machine learning and the information, because we didn't know that it was happening. It was happening in the back end, but there have been so many breaches on machine learning, and we contribute to that machine learning with every use of technology that we have. For example, the reason why social media and technology is so addictive is because it is studied from the inside out, psychologically and biochemically. We are studied, and from that perspective, technology is designed to trigger and stimulate, enhance, and engage the user psychologically, biochemically, and bioelectrically. Why? Because our emotions are a bioelectrical system. And of course, what drives us chemically and hormonally are our emotional system, the chemicals of our emotions that drive us to respond to things in certain ways. All of that is incredibly valuable information, and our use of technology has been educating these machines deeply. And if we begin to observe the bigger picture of how this information is essentially used, the future of genomics and the future of this gene information, this biometrical information, is what will enhance the future technology. And the amount of space that is needed to store this information is essentially growing exponentially to numbers that we barely even are familiar with. And one part that I will mention here that is interesting is that the same expansion that we are going through in our comprehension of this massive amount of information is also the same way that we are expanding multidimensionally in our ability to process this amount of information as well. So when we talk about the veil is thinning, those of you that are familiar with that concept, that we are moving into a higher octave collectively in this universe, higher octave of consciousness. What that looks like in our body multidimensionally is that we have access to more information. We can access higher faculties such as our intuition and other abilities. All of that is more available to humanity than before in larger amounts. More amount of people are privy to that information. So in the same way that we are expanding our quantum field, essentially, these computing systems are also matching that expansive level of information. And it's also a processing system that we are organically upgrading in our bodies. So how is AI being used in genomics? Let me come back to this for a moment. Essentially, our DNA information that is storing massive amounts of information is holding information about genetic disorders, the history, how chemicals affect us, how they direct our lives, our biome, the kind of history and memory that we hold inside our biome. And I want to mention that the memory system of our bodies is very complex, and it's based in bioelectricity. Michael Levin, which talks about the morphogenetic field, is more and more establishing for us a deep understanding, comprehensive understanding with scientific research, that our multidimensional body really is a bioelectrical network of memory, and memory is bioelectricity. And the way that we store this kind of information inside our multidimensional body is encoded in our DNA. And we seem to be able to access that memory given our environmental stimulation. Okay, so, for example, we have concepts as like the phantom limb. We are able to interact with, bionic technology and arms that are robotic arms through the network of bioelectricity in the body. Okay, so all of this information and all of those systems of processing this kind of bioelectrical system is encoded in DNA, and the link between your genetic information and artificial intelligence in order to process that is what's now being implemented into our doctor's visits. So the computer at the doctor's office is now going to be based on checking your DNA, and essentially the sequencing that comes from that is going to provide every single piece of information about what you are able to process in your body. And from there, medical solutions can be given based on that. The NIH is funding this incredible program called Bridge to AI. And I want you to pay attention to this, because this is something that I saw happening back in 2016, 2017, and lo and behold, here we are. That as a result of this information, this was going to be implemented into our everyday, medical workforce. So, what we want to take a look at with these companies and these systems is that we understand that the information that is being provided is we are aware of how we are contributing to this. In fact, we are contributing to these databases of information in so many different ways that we don't realize the contribution that we have given. Okay, there are many data breaches that are occurring with these companies with this biometric information. Biometrics not only being, your face shape and the biometric technology, but every single part of that is part of the information that is in this morphogenetic field in the physical body. This is just a tiny little snippet. I just want you to watch. I don't know if it's going to work properly, so let's try it. Can you guys hear that okay?
I could not hear it.
Okay, let me see if I can try to make it work properly. If not, we'll just skip it and I'll just talk about it. But hold on a second. Right over here.
You might have to reshare your screen and click share audio. There's a little share audio box.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on. Let me see. I see. Computer audio. Here it goes. Okay, can I do both at the same time?
So if you click share screen, you'll have some options, and there's a little box you can check that says share audio.
Optimize video sharing for the option. Okay, let me see. Optimize share sound. No, it doesn't let me click that for some reason. But that's okay. Let me see.
Here, hold on a second. Let me make you a co-host, and maybe that will do it now.
Got it.
Sorry, so I guess you have to take steps up from, being an audience to Pam.
I'm getting the upgrade here. Okay. Multiple participants can share. Okay, so I can try it now?
Yep.
Okay. So let me just come over here. And supposedly this should work.
Images of different parts of our body, detecting cancer.
Can you hear it?
Detecting
Got it.
Diseases in our eye. It's used in looking at our heart signals and detecting whether or not we're going to have a heart attack. But it's very focused on single signals like that. Just very narrowly focused, looking at a lot of data, and the machines try to understand what that really means. So it has a lot of promise, but it's very limited at this point.
What prompted the creation of this program now?
So this program was spawned by the advice of our community, our research community, and they basically told us in their advisory report that we cannot move any further with the current data that we're using because the current data is incomplete. It doesn't have the information that a machine needs to know in order to fully understand the context of the data, the ethics behind the data, the biases that might be attributed to data. And it doesn't really take advantage of the power of artificial intelligence that could be used to really help predict our diseases in a personalized way.
Well, so let's talk about that power. What's the vision? How could AI be used to ultimately benefit the health of Americans?
So AI could be used to really stitch together all kinds of modalities of data. So for example, when I talked about the images that are currently being taken through x-rays or ocular images or heart rate monitors, the vision is to perhaps stitch together different data types so that the machines can interpret what they need for a specific person. So imagine When you go to a doctor, the doctor always asks for your health history and asks you what happened when you started feeling this way. And and those are the things that machines can't do. They don't have the humans inside of them to infer things. And so they need to know the history of the data. They need to know what was the context of the data in which it was collected, what was the gender of the human operator, how was the patient situated, what was the temperature in the room. And those things could matter in terms of how a machine would interpret the data to predict whether or not we might have cancer or heart disease, or have multiple symptoms and multiple diseases that interact with each other.
So what's the biggest limit?
Okay, so just as you can see, basically, the massive amount of information that is now going to be accessed is just beyond what we used to comprehend. We're talking about a complete blowing open of information that is available through our DNA, through our history, in order to access our medical information, and also how it's going to be used. So there's positive sides to this and obviously negative sides to this. The positive side is that we'll be able to take a look at illnesses and address them in a way immediately, because nowadays we go to the doctor and oftentimes it can take months or even a year to get some kind of diagnosis after millions of tests that are run on the body. In addition to that, what is being produced now are holograms. They are creating human holograms based on DNA, which allows them to have an entire holographic image of your physical body, all your systems, your DNA sequencing, in order to understand how you're going to respond to medications and how you're going to interact with certain medications, things like this. Okay, so this is, they call it holographic cloning, is what they called it at the conference that I just went to a couple months ago. But essentially, what's interesting about that is that, you know, it gives them really pinpoint access to the available pharmaceuticals that they can prescribe to you. And in one way, this is going to change the pharmaceutical industry in that hopefully, if that information is used correctly, it will diminish the ability for these pharmaceutical industries to be making ridiculous amounts of money in which they are just, you know, giving you, like a guinea pig, all kinds of medications for you to try out. And I don't know how many of you have gone to the doctor and been given a slew of prescriptions to try out and to, you know how the pharmaceuticals system works, that doctors are paid to implement pharmaceuticals, to test them out and to sell them, and it's all based on the sales of the pharmaceuticals. So the downside of this issue is that who is buying this technology, right? Because who has this data, this massive amounts of information right now? Right now, what has been happening is that the cost of sequencing is extremely expensive. And now with these new laws that are being implemented about artificial intelligence processing the information, it's going to become at least a bit more accessible to more doctors' offices around the world. You know, the idea is that it becomes something completely implemented into our everyday medical systems. So based on that, what we want to kind of do, and what I like to do, is I like to follow the money, and I like to follow where is this information going? Who is most using it? As you know, NVIDIA was one of the companies that have signed the agreement for the artificial intelligence implementation with the government now. And they hold one of the largest database systems of this machine deep learning. They actually process they are responsible for the technology behind this deep learning and these advanced GPU systems that will process this. So the information that is being stored essentially by these is that there's a major collaboration and emerging between pharmaceutical industry and technology, particularly artificial intelligence. We have many new vaccines that are focusing on gene editing. And they are going to be implemented and used more. But we'll talk about that, because what are the effects going to be? So some of you might know 23andMe, Ancestry.com, but as I mentioned earlier, we paid for the past 10, 15 years to these companies to provide us with what we think is our ancestral history tree, right, based on our DNA. Where is our origin? It seems so fascinating to find that information out. But in reality, these companies are not vested in your family tree. In fact, what they're looking for is your information. And what we didn't know is that when we spit in a cup and we send our DNA, they literally have the entire blueprint of your information. Valuable amounts of information that are now being sold to these companies that have been testing this gene editing and also the merging of the technology with our genetic information for the past 10 years. So quote-unquote data breaches that have been happening with 23andMe, and there are many articles about how 23andMe, Ancestry.com, and I forget the name of the other company, but they have been selling this information openly. And this is 10 years ago. There was another lawsuit when the first lawsuit came out about them actually selling their information. But apparently when we sign the agreement to send in our test tube, we sign and we waive our rights to whatever they can do. They basically own that information now. Okay, so there are several lawsuits about it. That was just last year. But here's the kicker, and this is the things that I've been paying attention to in the past couple of years, that Blackstone, those of you that might not know Blackstone, but our world is run by 174 companies. Okay, it's 174 companies, and I believe it's like 15 main bank systems that own all of the banks in the world. They're all deeply interconnected. The way that the money flows, information, and data is managed. We are under massive umbrella model companies that trickle down the same agendas, the same concepts, the same use of data, the same sharing of information and technology. And that essentially comes down to the 1% that is managing our world, essentially. It directs a completely umbrella, use of marketing strategies, which, if you know the history of that, going all the way back to the Tavistock Institute, were deeply vested in studying the psychology of humanity in order to create manipulation of our senses, manipulations of our abilities, of our chemistry, in order to sell and monopolize the industries in the world today. So Blackstone is actually at the very top owner of the majority of these systems. And so they own everything from food chains to pharmaceutical companies to technology, Air Force, military deployments, military defense, biological military defense factions of the government as well, are all interconnected with Blackstone and the companies that they own. Okay, so they just bought for $4.7 billion Ancestry.com, and the database Ancestry.com owns many of the sub-data DNA sub-organizing information. So this is a really big deal. When I saw this, it was just, I was like, okay, here we go. Because right before this was the genomics conference in San Diego, in which they were just talking about how gene sequencing in the doctor's office is the next step to changing the pharmaceutical industry. So this is going to monopolize once again the information of our genetic data and transform the pharmaceutical industry potentially. But it's also gonna kind of monopolize who has access to this technology in ways that, as usual, are based on money. Okay, so in addition to that, we want to understand how CRISPR, how this gene editing technology, what are they doing with this information? Okay, so the kind of pharmaceutical testing that has been going on with this information, using the information that we have submitted to 23andMe and Ancestry.com, is a series of testing of what happens when we start to edit genes. How does it affect us? How do pharmaceuticals, how can we edit mRNA in order to change, sending mRNA signals to change DNA to eliminate illnesses like cancer or, COVID or whatever other illnesses were coming up and are being, tested for that. But essentially, the side effects of that and the implications of that are pretty huge, because this is more on that ancestry cell. But the implications of that essentially are really huge. And here are just some of those implications of gene editing. One being immune system reactions. And this is the largest concern, because we already have seen that with what happened with CV, right? We already saw what happened with that. And that's exactly how it affected the majority of humanity. Immune system reactions, targeting the wrong cells. So we had that whole issue with the cells attacking the body. Remember that whole issue. Cancer as a result of this, or organ damage, unexpected gene expressions. This is the one, this genetic material that is unexpected, expressed in different ways, everything from blood clotting to long-term gene mutations, which is what we're going to be seeing in the next 20 years and into the next generation. Right, so those are things that we are not prepared for because we don't understand genes yet. And the connection between understanding genes, DNA, how your genes function, and your DNA is a profound connection to epigenetics and your multidimensional body, your bioelectrical system. Okay, this is why I'm here today, because in order for us to understand how these systems function, we need to reconnect with our physical bodies, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But this is an article. I'll put the link for all of these things for you guys to read more deeply. But essentially, with CRISPR and with the editing of genes, they're not sure. See, this is the quote from the main scientist that led these first initial explorations. He says, we think we're measuring exactly what changes we're doing to the genes, but there's always the possibility that our technology cannot pick up on other changes, right? So that's the thing. Of course we can't, because DNA is a massive network of information. And what information is really important for us to study is how the morphogenetic field functions. Okay, and I talk a lot about the morphogenetic field in my work, because the morphogenetic field is the instruction manual that brings into form this physical body. Anytime that we are disconnected or unaware of our morphogenetic field, the information that we are sharing within the field, we're disconnected from the somatic root of our illnesses, and we're also unaware of its impact in the whole system, the holistic system of the body, because we are an interconnected system. So the morphogenetic field essentially holds information about how form comes into play, and it's very much chemical, but it's also a bioelectrical system. And let me just play this little tiny excerpt from this professor at Yale that is talking about, sorry, I'm going to fast forward here.
Our own cells by attacking ourselves. So cancers essentially mimic our own cells. Functions of CRISPR would be to remove immune cells from the body, apply the CRISPR technology, and put those immune cells back, clear the tumor away.
Okay, I just want you to...
Geraldine.
Yeah.
Real quick. There's like a screen within a screen. And so your is blocking some of the slides.
Okay, what's blocking it?
I think it's like an image of you. It's like screen.
It is? The whole time or just right now?
It's been for a little
while,
while,
but
I think it
because
has.
go
my
back to screen sharing.
okay, hold on, because my picture of me is in front of me on the side. It's not in front of my presentation.
Mm.
So is it just on your screen or everyone's screen?
There's some
There's
people
some people
making
making
comments about it.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on. Let me see. How did that happen? Sorry, guys.
No
Can't see
worries.
the
No
screen.
worries.
Oh, that's so weird. Let's see what is happening. Okay, how about now?
You're still
You're
there.
still there.
Oh, I'm not sure how to fix that. What did I do? Let me see. How about now?
Still there.
Still there.
Okay, how does it look? I'm not sure what you mean. So, because I'm looking at the green screen that's supposed to be only showing my presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
So
like,
there's like
there's a little box where you're
on
on the
the
left,
left
lower
lower
left
left
hand
hand
of the
of the
screen.
screen.
So it's blocking the video?
A little
A
bit.
little bit.
How about there?
It's still
It's
there.
still there.
Don't
Don't
worry about it
because
because
How about there?
you're gonna.
you're gonna.
That's better.
That's better.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let
Sorry.
me know.
Sorry.
I tried to change some settings. So let's talk about, let's hear from this doctor about what he believes are the risks. Just one moment. Oh, darn. I went to the wrong. Here we go, right here.
One of the biggest risks of CRISPR is what's called gene drive, or genetic drive. What that means is that because you're actually manipulating genes, and those genes get incorporated into the genome, into the encyclopedia basically that sits within cells, potentially those genes can then be transferred on to other organisms. And once they're transferred onto other organisms, once they become part of the cycle, then those genes are in the environment. That's probably the biggest fear of CRISPR, that humans manipulating the genetic code, and those manipulations get passed on generation to generation to generation. And the fear is that we think we know what we're doing, we think we're measuring exactly what changes we're doing to the genes, but there's always the possibility that either we miss something, or our technology can't pick up on other changes that have been made that haven't been directed by us. And the fear then is that those changes lead to antibiotic resistance or other mutations that go out into the population and would be very difficult to control. Basically creating incurable diseases or other potential mutations that we wouldn't really have control over.
Right. So that is super important for us to understand, because here's when we get into the real information that is so important about this, because you guys, we have to understand we're about to go through a medical renaissance, and a renaissance in our world that we have never seen in our lifetime. All of us, regardless how old you are here in this show today, in this mood today, you are not ready for the kind of transformation that's going to happen in the world. But essentially, the implementation of artificial intelligence and the use of even robotics implemented into our societies is going to transform our work. It's going to transform, in essence, our purpose and what we are here to do. And in the bigger picture of things, I see that our future is going to be bright if we choose certain things. And here's what I am shown. We are going to be split. Our human race is kind of going through a split. Those that are going to follow along the organic path, and those that are going to follow along the artificial path. Many people are going to be very, very, very attracted to these artificial implants. I just this morning saw the publishing of this Brazilian television channel, that they were talking about beauty chips, which is a new kind of chip that's sold only in America and Brazil, which modulates hormones of a woman by implementing the chip in the body, and it changes the hormonal system of the body for the woman to have absolutely the most optimum skin and hair and nails and regulating her hormones. Okay, so the woman is saying that she's taking this and that, you know, everything is wonderful. But that was just this morning. But if you keep a very close eye to the technology, including, you know, Neuralink, these are all wonderful technologies that can be used for productive things. For example, people that can't speak, people that can't see. Technology is laser technology and gene editing is helping blind people recover their vision. You know, people that have inability to speak, to be able to speak through a computer system, or even telepathically, as a lot of this technology is also becoming telepathic, by the way. So, you know, these are some things that we have to understand, that what is being mimicked are things that in our society have been told to us don't exist. They're a fantasy. We don't have telepathic abilities. We don't have abilities to cognize and to, you know, speak intuitively to each other or connect intuitively to each other. And this is where the ignorance of our human race and following trends and being hypnotized by you know, the mainstream agendas, that we are so disconnected from our own core value and our abilities. So talking about the morphogenetic field is the instruction manual that brings into form, but it's also the bioelectrical system that allows our memory to be stored in our body. And the kind of memory that we hold inside the multidimensional body is emotional memory. It's emotional memory. It's how trauma is passed down through generations, in the same way illnesses are passed down through generations, based on how we turn on and off the genes that allow us to either have healthy environments in our physical body, or counter-creative and parasitic environments in our body that cultivate illness, right? So we have to understand that our human body is the most magnificent intelligence of self-regeneration and self-healing. We 100% have the ability to self-regenerate and optimize our human body in order to self-heal. And this is something that we need to it was practiced by ancient cultures that were deeply connected to earth, deeply connected to the divine, that knew that when the body comes into most harmony, the body can actually regenerate itself. The HeartMath Institute just recently launched out a study that DNA, when we are in high states of stress, high states of anxiety, high states of fear, DNA literally coils up into a ball. It crumples up into a ball, and it cannot access its full gene expression and potential. And when they studied that DNA of meditators that would meditate and learn how to regulate their nervous system in times of stress or tremendous trauma, DNA was actually able to expand and, more importantly, express itself in its full expression. What does that mean? That means an enhanced and strong immune system, and it means that we can direct the information that we are processing through our body, and literally change what we allow into our energetic space, into our physical bodies. Even viruses or illnesses, it has been shown, and I mean, even Erin was sharing with me that from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, that the cells of the body literally create a little cover. They literally create a force field of energy when the human comes into its most regulated state and back into the 0 point. Okay, the 0 point, which I'll explain in just a second. It's not just a spiritual concept, it's literally a geometrical organic system that the human body has the ability of accessing. And these systems are being artificially created and utilized by this intelligence So we have to learn about it. We have to learn, and we have to learn to access that organically, because the alternative will be that humanity becomes completely dependent on this technology. And I'm telling you right now, we are already become transhumanists, because the mere fact that that little children and even ourselves are addicted to swiping, watching TikToks and Instagram videos, that biochemical response that is triggered within us that keeps us addicted is exactly the way that you begin to program an organism to be merging with technology and dependent. It is to the point that a person cannot let go of the technology. They need the technology in order to sustain a mood or to sustain a certain sense of purpose. So this is how we slowly become transhumanist organisms. So we have to wake up consciousness and begin to understand that disconnecting from artificial systems and learning to regulate the nervous system, coming into the 0 point, is actually the key to enhancing higher faculties. So when our human body actually is working in its optimum state, it comes into symmetry, it comes into an order. And the human body, as you know, it's like a toroidal system. It's a toroidal system of energy. Any kind of thought form or program that we are repeating from our ancestral lineage manifests into the physical body, creating blockages in the field and in our human body. Essentially, as we begin to block and lower the vibrational frequency of the emotions and thought forms that we're holding, they begin to manifest and crystallize inside of the field. Michael Levin's work on the morphogenetic field is incredible, because he is showing us how this bioelectrical system of emotion and memory are connected to the amount of conductivity that we can produce in the body. The more sick we become, the more disconnected we become, the less conducive and bioelectricity flows through our body. The more we have free radicals and negative ions in the physical body, the more out of body the body comes into. So, we talk about grounding, we talk about going into nature in order to rebalance and bring the human body back into a harmonic state. But we can also create that utilizing our intuitive energy systems. We can visualize grounding, connecting to the center of the earth, anchoring to the earth and aligning in stillness, feeling the rotation of the earth through the physical body, shows medically that it brings the body into a harmonic state again. So these are tools that we have available to us, that we have to learn and use very proactively, not just when we're sick. We're not going to wait till we're sick. We're going to use these abilities and these tools in our everyday life now. This is the choice. The choice is either your body becomes very ill and out of balance and you have to be dependent on something, or you begin to activate the organic technology. And what is the organic technology of the physical body? Many of you are familiar with the chakra system. Many of you are familiar with the frequencies in the body that are self-organized within the chakra system. The chakra system are vortices of life force that are self-organizing all infinite potential, essentially, and they are processed through the organs of the body. Every single chakra is connected with the different organs of the body, but it's also connected to the endocrine system. The endocrine system is responsible for the chemicals that are secreted in our body. And it's literally our life force. When these the main endocrine system in the body is ill, the entire organism goes out of balance. Okay, so as you know, the natural pathway of life force in this universe is in a form of a spiral. Okay, everything is moving through this evolutionary spiral system, and that spiral creates a pathway of life force in the body that is toroidal in its form, its full expression. So your human body is creating this toroidal form. The vortex that moves and creates the propulsion to create this kind of spin, a vortex spin in your body, is managed by three different parts: your lower dantian, your middle dantian, and your upper dantian. Excuse me, I wanted to...
That's you.
That's you.
Thank you. So the integration of your energy centers of the lower, the middle, and the upper dantian are the key to activating your higher faculties. Now, we don't have time to go deeper into this topic tonight because I can spend 3 days with you guys, but these centers, energy centers of the physical body, are connected to emotional systems, indoctrinal pathways of energy and chemicals, nervous system pathways down the parasympathetic nervous system, down the vagus nerve, into the pineal gland, and into the brain, right? So that entire nervous system network is connected to the bioelectrical system of the body. And at the core of that is your heart. Your heart, which actually is not functioning like a pump as we once thought, but rather it's a vortex. Okay, it's a vortex. The heart is a vortex. And so whenever this heart is moving in a vortex form, creating the fluid of life force through the body, purifying and moving life force through the body, anytime we start to have complications in our circulation, in our heart center, in our lungs, and in all of the purifying organs in the body of blood, right? This is where the body starts going out of balance. And it literally does not create that incredible centripetal movement of energy in the body. And we become centrifugal in the way that we're holding energy. What is centrifugal? Centrifugal is depleting. Centripetal means towards the center, Let's turn this into practical terms, okay? And this is what I've learned through all of my years of working with my clients that have everything from inability to have babies to cancers to illnesses, long-term diseases. We are able to self-heal and self-regenerate the body when we actually come into a centripetal force of moving our energy in our body. And that means that all our life force is redirected inwardly. Psychologically, what does that mean? We come into profound states of self-acceptance, self-love, unconditional self-love. Those basic integrating forces are what allow your entire energetic system to form massive conductivity ability. What happens as a result of that? Let me go there, but first let me tell you centrifugal, right? What happens when we're centrifugal? Centrifugal essentially is when we become parasitic. We become parasitic mind, body, and soul. Parasitic means that we look externally to fulfill the void or the need internally. Whatever need you have, need for affection, need for love, need for to be seen, to be heard. That depletion of your energy as you look externally is what is creating the depletion of your self-regenerating life force. And as you might have noticed, the Tavistock Institute, which have deeply studied this along with the Monroe Institute of Psychic Studies, have studied the human and how we work inside out since the early 50s, since the 40s even, and even in the 30s. But these experiments have been merged with what? With marketing, the marketing industries, which have then gone out into our food, into the pharmaceutical industry, and all other systems in our world that run our world today. And the misuse of our understanding of how we function is our downfall. That is where we become extremely fragile, as I said it. Not vulnerable, fragile. It's easy to break because we don't understand how to use our life force. The human that begins to redirect their creative life force internally then becomes a powerful, conducive system of bioelectrical, self-healing, self-regenerating organism. And essentially, illness does not exist in the body that can hold life force in this manner. And this is something that we have so many amazing supporting evidence and work that helps us understand. I have an entire 500-page book called Life Force, The Scientific Basis. I'm going to link the books for you guys on the massive studies that have been done on how, when we embody love, cultivate real love, I'm not talking about romantic love, the actual actions, thoughts, behaviors, and and thought forms that are completely creative in a way of love and harmony, those are the things that heal the physical body. So our health, our future, our regenerative energies are the key to accessing higher faculties. What are the higher faculties? The higher faculties are intuition. Okay? Every single human should be learning how to develop their intuition starting now. If you haven't done it up until now, your intuition is absolute key. And one of the targets of these agendas of artificial intelligence and robotics is to disable your connection to your intuitive faculties. Why? Because the human that doesn't develop their intuition is completely disconnected from their nervous system, their emotional body, and their self-healing and self-regenerating systems. They have no access into the Akashic records of their history, of ancestral emotional history, and that plays a huge role in the kind of illnesses that we develop in our body. So in addition to that, the human doesn't have the ability to come into healing themselves, essentially. But most importantly, we lack the ability to discern. And that's something that has been really important since COVID, for example, because that was one of the most masterful, incredible tests of this planet Earth on humans to test their discernment, and their ability to tune in to what is right and what is in alignment with humanity. We're told all kinds of stories, and let me tell you that in the next 10 years, there will be strong agendas to make us doubt what is true about the human, what is the potential, what is the ability of the human, and make us feel that we must depend on these technologies in order to survive. And I will tell you that none of those will be true. What will be true is that in the future, after all the people that have chosen to merge with technology in the way that they did will experience major side effects genetically in their history, in their genetic, in the network of their genes. Because as you can see, the morphogenetic field connects us to a field of memory. And when nature has such a profound balance, everything works intricately interconnected. When you move something out of place, there's always a chain reaction. And there's no possible way that we can understand the effects of this kind of gene editing in the long term. Why? Because illness is something that the human can turn on and off from the genes. They can epigenetically create an environment for illness, or they can alchemize the environment for illness. It is a temporary experience for the human. It is not something that we need to mess with the blueprint to eliminate the illness. Unless it is a severe illness that's passed down through generations, that, a deforming illness, that, blindness, things like this. Those kinds of editing, this technology will support, will help us, will help change that pathway. But first, the human has the potential of trying to balance the imbalances internally and support themselves internally. So this is an invitation for how we're going to use that. What will happen eventually to those that choose this technology is that they will find themselves way far away from their own internal organic systems of regeneration. Those systems essentially will become disabled and affected as a result of this merging of technology. And it will take them much longer time to repair and develop a stronger immune system, merging and transcend. There's a mutation that has occurred in the DNA as a result of that. And those mutations are going to be passed down generations. In the same way that illnesses as well as psychic abilities are passed down through our DNA, these mutations are also going to be passed down through DNA. Okay, so that's the invitation. On the other side of that, the good thing is that the humans that try to develop their higher faculties, we are looking at a major transformation of humanity in a way that the human race is going to develop its higher faculty abilities. Essentially, it's going to activate its ability to self-heal, telepathic communication, remote viewing. These are all basic things that the human has the ability to access. How do I know this? All of the great minds of history, the great spiritual, advanced people that have dedicated their lives to study the human consciousness have been able to access these abilities. And I myself in my own life have been able to access these abilities. I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it. It's just a matter of understanding and taking the time to choose that reconnection rather than external stimulation. And this is what will lead the human race forward. The invitation is that we use these tools, this incredible technology that is coming available to us, in order to have harmonious integration and use it for good. You'd use it for the advancement rather than the enslavement and essentially the, what is it called? The, the deterioration essentially of humanity. Okay. Yeah, so I'll stop right there. Aaron, if you have any questions, let me know, or anything else I can expand on.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't know why, but I have a big echo for some reason.
I don't know.
Can you hear me? Now you're muted. Uh-oh. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
I think it might be.
Can you guys hear me? I think.
Let me turn off my camera and my sound, and I'll let you go. Maybe that's better.
All right. Well, sorry you have to go. But yes, this is this amazing information. You triggered quite a conversation in the comments there, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. I saw somebody did kind of mention where is medicine going to go, and so there is that aspect of what Trump signed the deal, the $500 billion deal with blah blah blah. So there's going to be that, and so this kind of plays into it, that there's going to be the organic and the technological. So that's going to be more technological. Now, if you look at what's kind of the science and the studies that are happening at the retreats of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and if you go watch his documentary Source, It's Within You. The lead I don't know what her title is, but she's kind of the lead in UCSD, University of San Diego, and she wants to bring in consciousness to Western medicine. And she wants like, the vision is for surgeons to be conscious before they're about to operate on somebody. Like, everyone in that operating room is going to get together, and they're going to be conscious, and they're going to kind of, maybe do a little meditation about healing, that person, performing the surgery, but being conscious about it, and not just, being, you're completely separate from the patient. They want to bring in that connection, that, more of a quantum field type connection into medicine. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on with my throat. But yes, everyone, there's going to be a replay. I'm going to post it in Telegram. It's going to be uploaded on Advanced Medicine in a few days. So you can find it there. It'll be under free videos. If you're not an IADFW member, you'll be able to see it. And the link for it's advancedmedicine.com. Go ahead, Geraldine.
Yes, no, nothing. Amazing. Yes, thank you for sharing that. And in case anybody has any questions, also, I think I did see, I don't know, do we want to answer questions or not?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Let me know if there's.
So there was one that I saw that was. Sorry, the echo.
Let me mute myself again.
No. So the question was, are we at that point? Are we already commingled?
Yeah, we are at that point. The thing is that at the World Genomics Conference in San Diego 3 years ago, they were already implementing the gene sequencing technologies into hospitals in San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, and testing it all over. So we're already there, and I think that this medicine is available usually to smaller groups or testing in smaller groups, but it will be deployed in a massive way. I was very surprised to see Trump sign this agreement, but it's not that surprising because he already knew that these kinds of things were going to be happening. But I think the question is, we have to take health serious, because health is our freedom. Health is not just, it's everything. And the reason for illness is the lack of ability to master our human organism, our emotional system. Primarily, our emotions are bioelectrical charges that we input into this, construct, the bioelectrical field of co-creation. So if we learn how to regulate the physical body, come back into the 0 point. What is the 0 point? The 0 point is a regulated nervous system. It is the ability to come into neutral observation from which love truly emerges. Compassion for yourself, deep compassion for the self-love. Though that is the fertile soil from where the human begins to access its true potential. And in our world, we are stimulated in such profound ways left and right away from that 0 point. It's nearly impossible for us to cultivate that 0 point because of all the stimulation. So this is where, it's up to us. The choice is ours. We need to learn how to choose very proactively the words that we're speaking, the thoughts that we're thinking, any kind of fear mongering, any distraction away from you and creating harmony in your life, in your family circles, in your community. Even this political scene has caused major division, and it surprises me, like, how do we not understand the level of psychological operations and agendas that, this is another one of those that we need to pay attention to, not to get so emotionally engaged and charged with the things that are happening, because that's how they get you. That is how they manipulate you away from your power. And so our ability to ground is going to be extremely important right now.
Absolutely. Yes. The consciousness that we're entering, and Dr. Power spoke about this a lot. Geraldine, can you repeat for a second? Sorry. This is happening. Where the shift is already happening, and there's no stopping it. And the commingling, I think somebody asked, how are we going to commingle? Well, it's just, we're going to have to. And like Geraldine was saying, we need to get back to being grounded and connecting with ourselves and from within and connecting with each other. And I think this is the way that it's going to happen. There's no stopping the quantum era, whether it's an AI or computing or whatever it is, but you have your choice. And so stick with your choice. Don't give your power away. And we'll get through it. And it's kind of like it's almost like COVID. Like, we had choices there to go with the mainstream narrative, or to as Dr. Patar said, exercise our free will and do what we think is right. So,
Yeah, and then so I guess the thing is, what I see for the future is that if we use this technology in a way that we are selecting the implementation and the use and the ethical, moral implications of this information in a way to bring humanity forward, in a way that we use it to advance our human well-being. Because what will happen is that a lot of regular jobs are going to be taken, and this is going to leave a lot of people unemployed. And what does that mean? Humans have to they have to go back to understanding what it is to be really a human. The human is incredibly valuable, and the human is innately creative. So the human will go back to their creative nature. They will come back to being in communion with Earth, with the connection of Earth, and technology will be used to help facilitate that, to make it easy, to make our lives easy. Right now, the model of our world is that we pay the bills, we go work, all we do is work. We have no community, no life, no family, and we're just enslaved by this consumerism into the system. So the taking away of that is going to implement certain systems of control and regulation, which we already see in China, for example. That was the first run of that model of where the network technology is merged with your biometrics. They know exactly where you are. They can see what you're doing. So imagine that, but based on DNA rather than just only your biometrics. It's basically complete transparency into everything you are inside out. So the use of that information would have to be in the hands of someone that is not just for profit and for pushing pharmaceuticals or any kind of specific corporation in your direction to fund them. And it would be the responsible use of this to help advance science, advance technology. And we're going to see a major jump in science with disclosure as well. We're not really talking about disclosure here, but that's also happening. And new technologies are going to be implemented where our physics and understanding of physics is going to change. What I see is that in the future, those that are using their intuitive abilities are going to be more towards nature. And there will be a moment where there will be many wars in the world, little micro wars, not like major wars, just micro wars on religion, micro wars on science, micro wars on how we're going to use this technology, the power, the control of this massive power that is coming into play. But please understand that it doesn't matter if the 1% has billions of dollars. It's the millions of us that are the ones that have to choose how this information is implemented and stand up and rise against the parasitic systems that want to use this in a parasitic manner. But for that, we have to have discernment, because it's going to be packaged very nicely. It's going to be packaged like it's the only survival ticket, just as they did before. So this is where we need to really ground. And trust me, there were moments of doubt before. I mean, it was just such a massive agenda that you start to doubt. You don't know what's true, what's not true anymore. So with the massive amounts of information that are implemented right now, we're going in that direction times 10. So this is why I'm telling you that being connected to your intuition, into the network, because what happens when you enter your intuition, you're connected to the field of information. All information is available. I'm not saying this because it's a concept. I'm saying it because I've accessed this. I access it every day. But information that is not written in books of the universe, of your families, is all available to you. And each human has to cultivate that connection so that we are directing our race in a very holistic, healing way. How nature is going to be integrated with this is that essentially technology will become organic. It's going to become organic. And we see this in very advanced civilizations. Their technology is organic. That's where we are headed. There will be a complete merging between mechanical technology and organic. It's going to merge. And so we want to learn how to utilize that. Sorry, go ahead.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let me see
Let me
here.
see here.
What kind
What
of
kind of
jobs
jobs
do
do
you
you
have
have
when
when
AI
AI
takes
takes
over?
over?
Yeah, so this is one of the interesting things. We have to find our purpose, okay? And when I say purpose, I mean, even I want to roll my eyes when I hear that, because it's become such a cliche, okay? Because we don't understand yet what the purpose is, okay? We have many levels of purposes, but essentially, one of the main things that I see in the deep work that I do with each person in their subconscious mind for many generations of history of trauma, when we begin to realize that when we're in a dormant hypnotic state, all that we do, we don't even apply our free will. All we do is repeat over and over the same stories that our mother has lived, father has lived, grandpa, grandma. We are repeating in the matrix the same construct, and we reinforce that construct through our behavior, through our DNA, through our memory in the morphogenetic field. So the ending of parasitic programs is the key to unlocking the potential of humanity. When we stop repeating the parasitic programs of suffering that our ancestors have played out in this construct, we begin to become aware of our healing, and many of us are experts on the emotions of suffering and pain and sadness and disempowerment, but very few of us are experts on love, true compassion, embody of empathy, and self-healing, self-regenerative systems. So this system is turning around where our focus has to be on becoming very familiar with what it means to be truly at peace with yourself, truly living in harmony with nature, in harmony with our neighbors, with opposing opinions. That kind of a harmony is something that cannot be artificial. It cannot be manufactured, no matter how hard you try, because it's an organic system. It's an organic reconnection of the network through the morphogenetic field. It connects you to others and to the whole. And as I mentioned, bioelectrically, your body begins to change. We begin to develop a Merkaba, which is, we didn't talk about that today, but the human body turns into an advanced bio, it's a system, pathways of energy that are like sacred geometry. We have geometry in our cell structure. We have geometry all over the body. And when we come into harmony, that's how we become more conducive. That's bioelectrically conducive. So that's the magnetism that then becomes available, where you attract people, places, and things that are completely in alignment with you. So your purpose becomes available to you. Your gifts, whatever your gifts are. Each human, when you heal traumas, you begin to understand what your strengths are. You have a deep understanding of humanity and of yourself in a very unique way that makes you specially gifted in the way that you have lived your life. And that is the healing that we provide others. So whether it's through painting, being a lawyer, washing cars, whatever it is that you're doing, the human that does that work with the ability to access love in their body and is passionate and joyful about that work now becomes of service to others. And we see that every day with people that are truly passionate about their work. So we are going towards jobs, and we're going to create new jobs that are creative, that are harmonious, that are nourishing to humanity, that are healing to all of those parasitic belief systems that we have been indoctrinated with. We are going to de-indoctrinate from that and create a new way of existing that's not fitting in the survival model that has been implemented into our human race. So it's going to be focused on healing, which means becoming whole and expanding our consciousness and our vision. And it's going to be focused on creation, creativity. It's going to be regenerative systems rather than old. So there's a lot of work to be done. We need to find solutions that are more alignment with nature. A lot of our industries are damaging nature. We're depleting the resources of Earth in ways that are exponential, without the consideration of how our future is going to take that. So we need to focus our energy and our potential towards that. And that's where the human race will now reunite into a more unity consciousness way of being. So I think that's a really important thing that's coming for us.
I'm gonna question that is gonna shift, but someone was asking what's the name of your book?
Your book.
No, your book.
No, well, my book, my book hasn't been written yet. I'm actually in the process of writing my book, so I will share that with you soon.
That's why
I know. We were talking about that
right there.
With a little push. Yeah, I know.
There's also a question
we taking clients.
Yes. If you feel that you are blocked in any way in the things that I talked about, whether it's with your health, mind, body, soul, reach out to me. I'm really happy to be of service to you. And you can reach me at my website, GeraldineOrozco.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of free instructional videos and go deep into each topic there at Geraldine Orozco. So I'm an epigenetic psychotherapist, and I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist. So I do deep hypnotherapy work to help deprogram subconscious programs. So yeah, definitely reach out.
Excellent.
I posted your website in that.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah. How's your time?
I'm good. Whenever you're ready to close up, I'm really happy if that's all the questions. Yeah.
Because I promised the meditation.
Oh, let's do it. Yes, let's do it. Absolutely. I'm gonna mute myself. I'll let you lead.
I guess you mentioned a book that was a 500-page book. Maybe that's the book they were asking about.
Let me unmute. So it's called Life Force: The Scientific Basis. And I'll share the link with you so you can share it with them. It's a fantastic book. I have a couple books that I can share that are amazing support for this topic.
Excellent. Well, so everybody, if you would like to stick around for the meditation, please do. If you have to go, we understand. But just before you do, let's just thank Geraldine for joining us and sharing all her great research and precious information. And we really appreciate you. And we had up to I saw 166 people join. That's a good number. So thank you so much. Okay, so the meditation, and I'm going to keep it quick. Maybe it's going to be around 20 minutes or so, but I took a note here, and so Geraldine mentioned the toroidal field, right? That's all around us. So let's create a toroidal field, and that's you know through the chakra system, through your energy centers. Well, we're not going to do all of them. We're not going to focus on all of them, but we are going to focus on our heart and our brain, and getting into heart-brain coherence. All right. So we'll do that. We'll get into heart-brain coherence, and we'll feel we'll feel our brain, we'll feel both at the same time. Your default microphone, USB, perfect. Okay. So we'll get into heart-brain coherence, and I'll cue you to connect to that feeling of this coherence and then balloon it out. So take that coherence, that feeling in your heart and your brain, in the center of your being, and then balloon that out around your whole body, a field, a toroidal field. If you want, see it, if you see it spinning around you, and just, but just balloon it out around you, and then balloon it out as far out as you can take it. There's a loving intelligence that is within us and all around us. So I want connect your coherence to that loving intelligence, and connect to the divine, to your creator, to the quantum field. And so that's the purpose. And then Geraldine also talked about the centripetal force, which was a spinning that can either take maybe information or whatever it is. It can take it and spin it out, or you can take it and spin it in. So the centripetal force we're going to take, and so we're going to balloon out. We're going to connect to that consciousness. We're going to connect to the divine, and I'll cue you that, and then I'll probably change the song, and then we're gonna breathe it in. We're gonna use the centripetal force to breathe in all that information into your body, and we'll do that a few times, and just surrender to that information coming in, feel it coming in, uh, give it permission to come in. So that's what we're gonna do with the meditation. All right, so I need to share a screen. And I need to share sound too. Uh-oh. I can't share sound. How come I can't share sound? Let me see here. I might have to. Oh no, what happened? All right, sorry. Give me a second. Let me figure it out. All right. I think I might have to. I'm sorry, Geraldine. I might have to demote you.
Yeah, it's okay. Please go ahead. No problem.
Let me see what happens. Make co-host. Okay. And let me go share here. Try again.
Aaron, I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if you noticed, but there's actually questions in the Q&A. I didn't see them before, so just FYI, somebody was asking.
Did you, if you see one you want to answer, please do.
Let's do it later. Let me see. I haven't read them yet, so please go ahead with your meditation.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. For some reason, I can't share sound. So this might not work if I can't share sound. Super weird. Let me see here. I don't want to do that. I don't know what to say, guys. I can't share my sound. Let me try here.
You can go to advanced when you share screen, and on the bottom left-hand corner, it says computer audio.
Thank you. Computer audio. iPhone, AirPlay, iPhone, iPad, portion of the screen. I don't know why I can't do this, guys. This is really, really weird.
So on the bottom, are you able to share screen and click advanced?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
I'm in it.
and
And
your
your
audio is
audio is
selected.
selected.
Share.
Share.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to
Yeah,
try your
Yeah.
music?
let me
Let me
try
try
screens.
screens.
All right, let
All
me
right,
know
let me know
your
your
music.
music.
No, I
No.
can't hear it. No. But that's weird. It worked for me earlier. Just
All right,
All
guys.
right, guys.
Well,
Well,
maybe it
maybe
wasn't
it
meant to
wasn't meant to
be.
be.
do you want me to try? Maybe it only gave me ability. Do you want me to try on my side? Do you want to send it to me?
Watch
Well,
like
I can
change
like
the
change the
songs as I
songs
go
as I
through.
go through.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I don't think it
don't
was
think it
meant to
was meant
be
to be
tonight.
tonight.
Uh,
Uh,
apologize for
Apologize
that.
for that.
Can you lead the meditation without the music?
I
I
could,
could, but
it's
it's
acapella.
acapella.
Yeah.
All right, you
All
want
right,
to
you want
try
to
it?
try it?
All right, we
All
can
right, we
try
can
it.
try it.
Why don't we
Why don't
just
we
do
just
why
do?
don't we
Why
just
don't we
do
just do
a
a
silent
silent
meditation?
meditation?
Let's do that
Let's do
because
that
that
because
was
that
kind
was
of
kind of
what
what.
uh
Uh,
if you can
if you
mute
can mute
Geraldine,
Geraldine,
sorry.
sorry.
That was what Dr. Patar initially did when we did the the original meditations where we were doing silent meditations and we were practicing on who could feel that. So let's just do a silent meditation. We'll do it for like 3 minutes. And so just get in your think box and think of maybe someone or something or a place or the world or whatever it is that you would like to send love to. And okay, let's do this. So let's get into heart coherence. So just place your hands, one hand or both hands over your heart and kind of envision that there's a hole in the back of your hands. And when you take a breath in, it comes in through the back of your hands and into your heart and expands your heart. And as you exhale, your heart contracts and the breath comes back out through your hands. So just taking that breath in through your hands, expanding your heart, contracting your heart, feeling that breath come out through your hands. Just take your time with that breath. Breathing with your heart instead of your lungs. Have a sense of gratitude for your heart. Feel love for your heart. And just keep those breaths going. And bring that person, place, or thing right into the center of your heart. Whatever it is you want to send love to, bring it to the center of your heart. Place that feeling in your heart over that person, place, or thing. And just send your love to it. And we'll do that for 3 minutes. In 3, 2, 1. All right, you can slowly bring yourself back. A good meditation there. Thank you, everybody. We need to send love to RFK Jr. Yes. If you did, great job. All right. All right, let's go to the Q&A here. And I just didn't know how much time we had because some of these questions look like they were going to go into a big discussion, and I was just kind of being mindful of time. Denise asked, where can we get in touch with you? I posted that a few times in the chat. Please, what is your name on Telegram? I don't know if you have a community on Telegram.
No, I don't have a community. No, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
just
join.
Go to
Go to Geraldine's website or
YouTube.
YouTube.
Please.
Okay, so is there a vision for abundance for humanity? Can we achieve it, especially after most of us will be freed of jobs?
There is a massive, massive, beautiful future and abundance for humanity. We simply have to come back to the basics. We have to learn, honestly, growing our food. That's really important because the food industry, the economic system, how all that's going to play out, it's going to be really important that we have access to our own organic, natural food. And dedicating time to that. That's going to be really important. And then again, honestly, your abundance is where your health is emotionally. So if we learn how to regulate our system, you have everything. And the monetary system is going to change tremendously as well. I see that things are going to try to become more centralized. And even though they are, the model of living is going to change. So money is going to change. How we use money, how we see money is going to change into a different kind of exchange system. So again, develop your abilities. Try to, for those of you that are older, sometimes when we're older, we think, that we're done. We don't have a passion. We don't have a purpose. Try to focus on the things that really fulfill you deeply. What is that? And take your time to focus on that, develop that. That is where your abundance lies. And the model of abundance is going to change because for us, we only think of monetary wealth as abundance because that's the model we live. There are new ways of having abundance that are going to be developed now, and we have to develop them in our communities. So I do see a very bright future. I channeled this message a couple of weeks ago about this, and I'm going to do a video on it on my YouTube for those of you that are curious. But I see that those that are intuitive, that are highly, deeply connected, are going to go more into nature, and the houses are going to be highly, highly technologically advanced and connected, but we are going to live in more of a symbiosis. And those that are developing their abilities, they're going to be the healers. The new medicine will be the old medicine. The new medicine is the medicine of the earth, the plants, the herbs, the connection to even crystals. It's that kind of technology is developed. So if you have an inkling or a desire to develop those kinds of things, that's your call into the future, because that's essentially energy medicine, sound medicine, frequency medicine. Those are the kinds of medicines that we need to develop, and it's up to us, the rest of the 99%, to bridge that into this world through our intuitive connection to our higher self. That is the key. So that's where the focus is.
Okay. Yes, I agree. And maybe that's going to tie into Kim's next question, which was, for me, the biggest challenge as a health practitioner who focuses on teaching people how to self-heal with external intervention is how to help people understand they can do this and want to do this. Seems to me it's all about consciousness. How do we change this? Well, I think you answered your own question.
Yes, exactly. It's absolutely about consciousness and what that means. Yeah.
Um, yes. So this is more of a comment. What are they up to? Conventional medicine has never been interested in prevention and healing the body. I consider them evil, and all science is about controlling our DNA and making a trade. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
pretty
spot on.
spot on.
Well, actually, I would beg to say that actually science is spiritual, but it's been sold to us and packaged to us in a way that was profiting corporations. That is going to change, okay? Because right now, the corporations lobby labs and scientists to have even scientific papers written that confirm monetary movements and sales and marketing of certain things. That all of that has to come to the surface, and again, we have to use our discernment, just like we finally got red 3 banned, right? That toxic food coloring, that's ridiculous. Like, that should have been banned a long time ago. So we are choosing with our choices the things that are in alignment, and science is merging with spirituality. So that's why I'm saying, like, science, sound medicine, energy medicine, this new science that is highly intuitive, highly connected to the networks of nature and high development of human technology, that's the future. So don't think that science is the enemy. Actually, when we merge science and spirituality, that's when the humanity is going to really, really catapult forward into an advanced civilization. Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Can you talk more about how the light spectrum colors relate to the
Relate to the
chakras?
chakras.
This
This
the
fits the
rainbow
rainbow
diagram you
diagram you
showed.
showed.
So to make it really simple, every single one of your chakras, every single chakra of your body, we're made up of millions of chakras, but the main chakras in the body are the first 13 chakras. The 7 starting at your root, going up to your 8th, are the chakras that master everything in your that you're manifesting in your everyday life. The 7th takes information from your ancestral DNA, so Earth DNA, and the rest of these are processing infinite potential because you are infinite potential. So essentially, we learn your chakras are the filters of perception. If your root chakra is out of balance and enlarged, chances are that you are only seeing things from the perception of survival and separation and fear. So when you begin to work with that and change that, clean it up, and learn how to shrink it, how to control it, actually, we can control our chakras. It changes the way we perceive things around us. It changes our emotional state, our biochemical responses even. And it also stores how we hold healing energy in our body. So the invitation and actually the study of meditators and monks that meditate all their life, when they were seen through the energetic body, their lower chakras were really balanced and the upper were highly developed. Their heart was expanded, throat was expanded, third eye was expanded, crown is expanded. Okay, so our connection to source is the 8th chakra. So when these are expanded and that becomes the filter of perception, we now, I don't know if you know, levels of consciousness, we begin to access into more unity conscious levels. That's why I'm saying we have a bioelectrical and sacred geometric structure in the body that is deeply connected to these energy systems. So that's essentially the chakras, and those color ranges, the first 7 colors are the spectrum of our human sight. As you can see, they manage our physical body, they manage our world in the physical, how we translate the world. But when we start to develop intuition and higher faculties, our range of color visions, frequency vision begins to expand. This is how we start to see ghosts, ETs, whatever, interdimensional presence and beings and interactions are available to the human because we are innately multidimensional. So, and you know, this current time that we're moving into a higher octave for the human race, that is going to become more accessible to people, which is why we're having conversations about ET disclosure right now. These are technologies that can no longer be suppressed, and it's part of our organic development. So I have a lot of videos on this topic on my channel, so please check them out. I don't have a lot of time to talk more, but yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, check it out. Check out YouTube. I think that was it, really. I think we covered all the questions.
Awesome.
And,
Thank you so much
we're at the
again.
We're at the 2 hour mark, so
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. It was an honor to be here. Thank you, Erin, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you for the meditation. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Next time,
Next time,
we'll figure it out and see
whatever happens.
join next Tuesday and we'll do one.
Yes. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and sharing all that wealth of knowledge. And we'll post the replay as soon as possible, and I'll probably put it in Telegram while it's processing to get on the Advanced Medicine website. But other than that, a lot of thanks in the comments, and awesome. Thank you all for joining, and the 105 of you that are still here. Awesome. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks, Geraldine. Bye.